Welcome, Solid Rock family. We're here tuning in now live into another set of Solid Rock Entertainment. Here we have the lovely and ever so talented Ilismo. How are you doing today, Mr. Ilismo?
I am good. Good to see you again.
Yes.
It's good to see you again, and thank you for having me in your program.
Yes, no problem, no problem. Well, we're going to be getting into some questions with Miss Ilismo. We're going to be talking about her career, her upcoming project that's coming up, and and a lot more. So tune in. We're going to start off with the first question. And the first question, for those who might not know you, Mr. Ilismo, tell them about your history and how long you've been involved in the music.
Without actually telling you how old I am.
Don't want to give that away.
No, don't want to give that away. Don't want to. I like my youth. I started singing since I was 11 years old with my twin sister.
Okay.
And we were the youngest in our adult choir at our Seventh Adventist church, Seventh Adventist. And from there, we did small events on our island. And started singing professionally at age 14 for hotels and restaurants and private parties.
Okay.
And that's where my training really started, so to speak, because I haven't gotten any real vocal training. I did do a little bit of classical stuff, but I started working for a hotel called Captain Oliver's. He actually gave me my first gig there at his hotel, at his restaurant in the hotel.
Okay.
And he pretty much, with the other band members that also, showed me the ropes, so to speak.
Yes,
My first time doing it, he told me, you need to go out to the crowd and speak to the audience and speak to them at the table. I was like, what? It was. I was only 14, and I was singing with the band on the stage, but he was like, no, you have to go and sing to everybody. So, and I'm glad he did that, because it forced me to push myself to do something different and come out of my comfort zone. And then the rest of the team of the band and even the workers there at the restaurant, one of them used to come up with me, used to do a little routine and do a dancing and singing at the same time. He was the singing waiter, and I'm the yes, and it was very much so fun. And after that, me and my twin sister, we traveled around the Caribbean as the Johnson Sisters, and Radio Paradise and some other stations in the Caribbean played our music, and we won awards as well for our music. First album, we released it. We made it when we were 14, released it at age 15, so we actually won awards for our music as well for the albums. Gotcha. And yeah, I would say it's been a good number of years.
Wow. Now, as far as your, this interview is of course about you, but your sister, she's still involved in music?
Yes, she is, and we still do our gospel music together. We changed our name to Jumel. Okay. And while in college, she took on a different direction with music education, and I did video production and photography. So with that little split off a little bit with our education, to make extra money, I decided to continue doing music, but on a secular basis. So I made Ilismo, and started performing different functions on my own. And but she still is very much so involved with my career as well, because she's also the writer of our group, and most of the music that I have on my project, she's also written them or co-wrote them. So yeah, so she's still doing her thing with me as well.
Now, what is the meaning behind Ilismo? What is the meaning of that word? I was always curious to know that.
It's a name that I put together, and it's how I summarize it is who I am and where I'm going. Okay. I haven't decided if I'm going to tell everyone what it actually fully means in part, because it's part of my it's part of my real name, together with something that because the album itself that I'm working on is called Moving On.
All right.
So part of Ilismo has Moving On inside of it. Okay. It's a growth thing for me, because everyone goes through good things and bad things in life as you grow as a person. And when I started Ilismo, I was married, and also trying to pretty much see where I'm going to go with my life. And it's pretty much I summed it up. Again, I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I summed it up of Ilismo is who I am.
Okay.
Moving on is who, you know, where I'm going. I'm moving forward with things in my life. I'm divorced now and I have my son.
Okay.
And as a single mother.
You hear that, fella? She's single. For all of those who might be interested.
I'm a single mother. Come with a package. Remember that? So as a single mother, I have to move forward and, you know, not let whatever happened in my past,
Right.
you know, stop me from who I am and where I want to go in life. So
Okay.
that's pretty much what Ilismo is, or who she is.
All right. All right. Well, to get out a little bit of the personal stuff,
Yes.
you know, we got a little bit personal there. We're going to go back to the music. Now, what genre of music would you consider that you do, or is that you do?
It's hard when people try to put me in a category
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up singing. I started with acapella, singing
Right.
acapella music,
Mm-hmm.
choir music, and but for me, I'm from the island of St. Martin, so we're the melting pot of the Caribbean, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
That's everybody, you know, we are a melting pot of the Caribbean, and we take on so many different genres of music, from soca to calypso,
Mm-hmm.
jazz. I've done all of those
I can imagine.
genres.
Mm-hmm.
I played in 4 different bands at one point, and I also lived in Curacao, so I got a little taste of the tumba. Tumba is a different style of music from Curacao with the Papiamento dialect.
Okay.
And I am also born of the Dutch colony, so
Wow.
yeah, so I love techno. So that's why I pretty much summed it up as I do a lot of fusion.
Yeah.
So I fuse jazz and reggae, and I put a little salsa in between. So for me, I'm, you know, contemporary artist. If they want to, again, it's so hard to summarize me, but
Yeah, because you seem like you have a lot going on.
I do, because I love to put the different elements together
Yeah.
and just make them from what it is. It's music. So I say it's fusion, but people pretty much say contemporary or pop artists if they want to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
call it that much, but I don't know yet. We're still figuring that out, you know.
So being that you have all of these different, like you said, a melting pot, and you got all this different mixture of sounds.
Why can't they
and-
call it melting pot, you know, artist?
I don't think you want that.
I know, I don't want that.
So, I mean, what can anybody who's going to listen to your music, what can they expect when they're going to listen to Ilismo? Because, you know, you're coming from all different angles here.
Pretty much a storyteller of life. I'm a lyricist, and a lot of the music that I write, or that me and my sister co-write together, it's a lot of metaphor based on things that happen in people's everyday life.
Right.
It's stories about us, but as well as our friends and family members and people that we know in community that went through certain things, and we pretty much incorporate this in the lyrics part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the genre of the style of music, yeah, it's a crossover of jazz and reggae
Right.
that I do. Put it this way, with the jazz aspect of it and Caribbean flavor. That's what I pretty much like about it. Because Caribbean music has so many elements on its own, especially now.
Right.
They're fusing zouk with pop too, and with, you know, with the R&B bass, so, and soca. Everything is being fused anyway, but they're not calling it fusion,
Right.
which they should.
Right. Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, but so it's pretty much, I pretty much give people, when it comes to the music, whatever you're going through at that point in time, and you listen to any one of my songs,
Right.
it's gonna touch you.
Okay.
And that's what I want to show with my music. It's not about the style, it's about the message that comes with the music,
Right.
and what you can take from it and, you know, be happy if you can.
Well, that kind of leads me into the next question that I was going to ask you. I was going to say, you know, well, we got the idea of what the sound is like. Now, let's get into the meaning. Do your lyrics have a specific meaning to them? You know?
Each song does. Like the first song that I ever wrote, is called I See Love. I also won a Caribbean Mountain Awards for that song. It's a jazz song. It was a love song I wrote as a teenage girl. I don't remember what year I wrote it, but I love Fleur de Lis because listening to classical music.
Right.
And I said, you know what, I'm going to write lyrics for Elise.
Okay.
So that time, I believe I was engaged. So, so I wrote about how I was feeling.
Right.
And it's poetic, you know, because certain things in the song, it says, for you my love will last for all time, for you and mine our love will shine.
Okay.
The time we spent together, you know, it's forever, it'll never end, you know, so certain things like that. And then the funny thing was, me writing that song, because I grew up in the gospel, gospel world, the Marlin Awards put it in the category of gospel jazz. I didn't even know what I was writing. I just thought it was a love song. I knew it was about love in general, but God is love, so
Yes.
I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
So it, you know, people can look at it as, you know, God's love for us is eternal. It will never end, and it's a sea of love. The love flows and continues to flow.
Okay.
So that's for one of it. Again, poetic. And then I have this one song that I wrote, is entitled Realize.
Mm-hmm.
And that song, I wrote that one after a dear friend of mine. I don't know if anybody knows him in Florida, but he was named Chameleon, Damien. He was the reggae artist that got murdered here in Florida. Yeah. And he was one of the first artists that I performed with before the band I'm in right now. And when I wrote that song, I just remember the times that we all hung out together as a band, and we went on his first international show to DR. And I'm like thinking back, you know, people have to realize time is very, very short. You know, you don't know when you're gonna be here, when you're gonna be there. People are so busy talking about each other, bringing each other down, and not looking at the fact that life is short. You have to enjoy the time you have. So that is another metaphorical song that I wrote that's based on that. It is a dark time in my life. So even I designed the cover for that single, and when people see it, they're looking at it as like, what happened? It's a dark. I'm like, well, that was a dark time in my life. And then some of the other ones I have called Tonight. My life as an artist is nightlife, whether I want to or not. I perform mostly at nighttime, and people who are looking for some sort of release or fun from their daily life, they go out. So the song called Tonight was co-written by my sister as well, and it's the song is Tonight I Feel Alright, you know, so, you know, tonight, I want to feel the passion of life, you know, so.
Positive vibes.
It's positive vibes. Some people might take it in a way, like I said, depends on how you're feeling at that time, that song is going to touch you in that way, but it's all metaphor. A metaphor is saying one thing, but you got to look at it from another direction. Exactly.
Right.
So,
It makes you use your mind.
make you want to think, and that's what I want with my song. I don't want to write songs that everybody's just gonna pick up because it sounds cool. I want you to hear what it is the words are saying.
Right. Now you said something that you know, caught my interest a while ago. Recently, I think she's an R&B singer. She was actually in the gospel genre. She decided to leave the gospel genre because she felt as if the people of the church were a little bit, what you'd say, judgmental. And you just said that, now as far as you said that you want to sing gospel, and now so what changed, or maybe you made the change from gospel to, you know, if you don't mind.
You're not the only one that asked me that question, because again, I'm born in St. Martin, and on a small island. They asked me that, what happened to, because my name was Cutie, that's my nickname, but I changed to CJ. So they're like, so Cutie, why did you change from gospel to secular? I'm like, I never changed. I still do ministry with my twin sister. The music, the secular part of it for me is work. That's my career. That's a choice of career I went into. And when it comes to ministry and traveling and doing God's work, once I'm called for it, I'm still going to do it. So I don't let, and I've not gotten too many negative vibes on, because the music that I write is pretty much crossover of inspirational. So I haven't had anyone come to me with anything with how my lyrics are. I keep myself as presentable, but still, you know, I believe in looking, you know, good and still, you know, like a woman. You don't have to show too much to show your beauty or nothing like that. So I'm not out there doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So it, you know, I don't really hear much of the negative stuff, and I'm not going to stop singing gospel. I still do praise and worship in the mornings at the church that I go to, and like I said, with my twin sister, we still travel and we do our gospel music.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I mean, to me, in my own opinion, music is music. You know?
It is.
You know, I mean, yes, there's some that can go out of bounds, but I mean, you know, music is music.
Yeah, for me to actually go and cross over that deep where you're going to actually see a lot of stuff on my body that I cover up, that will be saying something is up with me.
Right. Well, before the cameras were on, we had a little discussion, but we didn't bring it into the interview. What we're going to say, what I'm going to ask is, do you remember the first time you performed, and how was that feeling?
Ooh.
We were talking about that earlier before we start the cameras rolling.
See, that question right there is like, I have to go back in my little inbox and right here. The first time I performed doing singing,
Yes.
because I used to play the recorder.
Woman of many talents.
The first time I believe I sang was with my father and my twin sister. Besides the choir, because that's, you know, we were the first in our choir, 11 years old. Okay, so that's actually the first time, because when we were at my mother's choir rehearsal, we used to go with her every Friday night.
Right.
And the choir director, Glenn Richardson, he passed away. He heard us, we used to mimic every section, the tenor, bass, sopranos.
Right.
We used to mimic everybody and try to sing it, you know, our own voice, as young as we were. The choir directors heard us doing that, and he was like, okay, you two guys are gonna start singing. So he pretty much put us in the choir whether we wanted to or not.
Right,
so he put us in the soprano section. That's how we started singing for the first time. I think we just felt that we were already there and it didn't really matter. But when we actually sang for the first time as a duet was with our father. He is a pianist in the church, and we were singing, and it felt good. It felt, you know, nice doing it, and I saw myself wanting to continue training choirs. We were like one of the youngest choir directors in our church as well. We had like a choir of 40 people. At one point, we formed our organization as well. We were voice singers. We had 8 singers that we all did a cappella stuff, plus with choral music and bands, and we organized shows. And so, yeah, it was between the age of 11 and 14.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's interesting looking back at all of that stuff. But it was so fun. I like that.
Like I'm giving a presentation. Awesome. Okay. So as far as
You sure?
So being that I know you've been, without letting anybody know your age, I know you've really exposed how long you've been in the field of music. But I'm gonna ask, being that you've been in it for quite such a long time, or a minute, as so far, what has been, or has been the highlight of your career so far?
I believe the highlight for me was when myself and my sister got recognized for our work at the Caribbean Awards. We also got awards from our island as well for our achievements that we've done back home. But I think for me was that to hear that I got to perform my award-winning song, knowing that it was playing right there live in Africa and different parts of the world, streaming live. For me, that was something amazing. It was kind of nerve-wracking because they put me up on myself to sing the song, and I'm like, my sister's not with me. I was like, it was, you know, but just the thought that people all over the world got to hear my music at one time. That for me, yes. And I mean, there's other stuff as well, but for me, that's what I can really remember, that feeling of people actually recognizing what I've done as an artist, not just because of how I looked, but for the fact that my music actually touched people enough to get an award for it.
Right.
You know, and that's what I think awards are for, and your own peers are voting for you because they send that out to different people that vote. So to be a part of the category, not many people telling me that you're worth that much to let the rest of the world hear, that was a highlight for me. And that's why I can remember.
Okay. So you come from, it seems like you come from a very musical background. You said your father was a pianist and stuff like that?
Yes, my father is Terry Johnson. He played almost every instrument you can think of.
Wow.
Guitar, piano, he can even sing. He has one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard. He's also a writer.
Oh, a songwriter?
Yeah,
okay.
He is. And I think that's where me and my sister get it from, especially her. And that's what we call a lyrical elf.
Wow.
And my mother used to sing for, as a backup for Joseph Niles. I don't know if you ever heard of Joseph Niles. He was one of the Caribbean gospel singers from way back in the day. She used to sing for him as well. And and then the rest of on my father's side, they're pastors and singers as well. So the family is known for our music. And even like there's 5 of us, and we all do music. My brother's a DJ in Holland. My younger sister won competitions as well when she was in St. Martin. And my younger brother, he's also does DJ chanting and writes his own music as well. And there's my twin sister. So yeah, it's
so musical family, almost like the Jacksons.
Yeah,
the Island Jacksons.
I know the name we call ourselves now. We're finally gonna use it one day. We did record something together, and we call it like J5 because it's 5 of us. So we don't want to take away from the Jacksons, right? Because they're all boys.
Right.
Except because Janet don't count.
All right, so now we got a new project coming out. Well, you have a new project coming out.
Hey, still we think this is like,
So you have a new project coming out. What can listeners expect from this new album? And give them the title and what's going on with it.
Well, it's Ilismo Moving On. And I have a subtitle called In Love. And going back to the reason why I even chose that name, Moving On, everyone moves on in life from something they went through, good or bad. And especially with the bad part of it, you gotta move on in love, because you can't keep hatred in your heart like that, because it is just gonna sink yourself lower than anything else. And the person that hurt you are gonna win more than you. And the songs on here, from beginning to end, is a message. And I see love, secret love, because everybody, and again, I am gonna hear some stuff about some of my music because it is metaphor. Yes, secret love. That one is not as what people might think from the word, because again, you can love something or someone and don't tell them about it. And that's pretty much what the secret is, because you can have a huge crush on someone, they'll never know because you're not going to tell them. They could be your best friend, and that's pretty much what I wrote that song based on. Like, you could care about somebody, but they won't know you're feeling that way unless you say it. And then, parts of it say, you're going to be my secret love, or won't be, because one day you're probably going to say it. So again, that's why.
All right. So, you kind of got me off guard with that.
You're going to have to listen to the songs to really pay attention to say, what am I saying? And don't look at me, because I could be talking about someone. I could be talking about you, because, you never know.
One thing about you artists, you artists like to always throw people off. I guess, is that a way to disguise your personal life? Or I kind of noticed that's something a lot of artists do. But when they sing a song, it's like, oh, don't take it this way, it means this, when it probably means what it means.
Not always, no, because I grew up in St. Martin, and I grew up around the Calypsonians. I learned a lot from the Calypsonians, because they use a lot of metaphors.
That's true.
And it don't necessarily mean, like I said, it has to be about us per se. It could be I could see someone walking on the street and they fall down, or they fell down, and I can actually write a song about that. How they fell, why you think they fell, but the song is called I Fell Down. But I'm not talking about me.
So
I'm just using a stupid illustration there, but you know what I mean.
But do you believe that artists try to take the focus off of them for the listeners, so that the listeners can get their own idea of the song?
You know what? To be all jokes aside, looking at it from that perspective, I would agree sometimes because as an artist, I don't want you to look at me. I want you to look at my work. So if I write something and that's gonna make you hate me and not want to listen to my music, then why would I want you to keep thinking of that of me? I mean, that's just my opinion. So people get caught up too much on the artist and not on the actual work. This is why you have a lot of music out there that literally don't have no meaning whatsoever. It's just a bunch of nonsense. People just decide to play it because, oh, that person is already famous.
Right.
You know? So, one second, sorry.